beautifully peaceful and quiet Sunday morning. And look at that. Got sun after some time again. Feels good. Oh, feels good. Yeah. I like how everything's quiet on a Sunday morning, and I'm not sure if it's a rule or if every Sunday morning is like that. I kind of get a feeling that it is, Sunday mornings, like, no commotion, everyone's sleeping in, no cars, and it's like, it's interesting to me because, I don't know, to me, I don't feel any difference when it comes to, like, days, really. I mean, of course, Sunday feels kind of different than Monday because you have to, usually you have to start working. But otherwise, to me, it's just, they're all days, of your life, let's say. But it's interesting how people change, like how it's just like, how it's like specifically different, like Sunday, or Friday at that matter too, and I don't know, for me it's like, for instance, when it comes to work days, I don't make any difference, I mean, okay, whatever, Wednesday, okay, Friday, it's like, I don't know, man, it's a work day, and then sure, you have weekend, but yeah, it's just a bit of a food for thought. It's like, why is Sunday so different when it's like just another day, but it really is, because it's just so quiet, save for our yellow hammer friend over there, who is, by the way, on the same spot like last time, but now he's not rehearsing, now he is singing. I see. That was a Yellowhammer song. Beautifully sang, not stopping in the middle. Not, doing a weird little variation of it. That is a Yellowhammer song that I was talking about many times. It sounds a little bit like the beginning of the Beethoven's symphony. I'm not sure which, is it ninth or, yeah, I think it's ninth, but I'm not quite sure. And actually there is a little bit of a legend that actually Beethoven himself got inspired by Yellowhammer's song, like he was, I don't know, somewhere, chilling in the nature, and he heard Yellowhammer's song, and he's like, and there it was. So that's the, sort of, I'd say, legend, but who knows? But I'm pretty sure a lot of historically, a lot of artists and musicians got inspired by songs, and music in general got inspired by bird songs, because I mean, it's been around for, at this point, hundreds of thousands and millions of years, and I don't know when was the exact time when we first gained consciousness as a species, but it had to be incredibly, impactful for us, like bird songs and, hearing music and melodies, and, it had to be quite something, when we, like, I don't know, started hear it differently than before, you know. I mean, of course, I'm not sure if there was a time when we were like, you know, just walking, you know, foraging, eating, sleeping, and then we were like, huh, that's a nice song. I don't know. I think it was a gradual process, you know, evolutionary gradual process, but wow, look at that. Look at that. Damn, that is beautiful. Wow. Wow. That is amazing. Absolutely stunning. There's a little bit of, it's not even mist, it's like, wow, look at that. It's like almost cinematic, not like almost actually cinematic. Yeah, there's like this little bit of a hazy sort of vapor rising from the ground, because it was quite cold in the night. And now it's getting warmer, like the sun is warming up the ground, and you get this vapor, you know, evaporating from the ground. Oh wow, look at that, there are snowdrops over there. Holy moly. Haven't seen one. Haven't seen snowdrop yet. This spring. This spring. See? Man, I'm confused too. No, man, it's not spring. It's still winter. But look at those snowdrops here. Yeah. Those are snowdrops, all right. Wow. All right. So yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure it was I would guess it was a gradual process. But once we start to appreciate these things, and like once we started to be sensitive towards those things, like bird songs, it must have been incredibly impactful for us. And wow, I mean, I'm amazed by all this, man. The lighting, holy moly, that is just beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Man, this is, wow, this is just beautiful. And look at that, there's a buzzard flying, soaring above the pasture. And we gotta see, hear those. There's at least, there's one yellowhammer singing. That's that one. That's a yellowhammer. Reiku. Tady jdeme, jo? So, what the hell was that? Jesus Christ. Okay, I guess a local desperado. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like sometimes really a Wild West here, you know. Some people driving are just, I mean, sometimes I see it, I'm witnessing it, I'm like, what the hell was that? Yeah, it's like a Wild West, really. Some people are crazy, you know, with their driving, you know, like they, just crazy, you know. In the city, I mean, I recall in the capital, it was, you know, people are like nervous and they, you know, they're like rushing somewhere and they are like using the horn, and they're like, you know, they're kind of like, everyone's kind of on edge, you know, because you have always traffic and situations and all that's, oh, sorry. Yeah, I was talking about yellowhammer and then I got distracted by the car. But what I was gonna say, that this here, oh, Interesting. That song right there, not a very common one. Like, I mean, not an uncommon either, but you know, you don't hear it every day like a great tit. But that song over there, that's a marsh tit. A marsh tit. There's a one species that look kind of similar to marsh tit, and that is a willow tit. You know, they look almost indistinguishable, but their song and call is different. But that right there is a marsh tit. That over there, that sort of Morse code, that's a nuthatch. And we've heard like two. Unfortunately, they fly off, probably spooked by the desperado driving over there. But they did this classic. Those were great tits, you know, two of them, along with the yellow hammer. I just wanted to say that, and then desperado from God knows where it turned up, and you know, did that little trick with the whatever that was. So yeah, driving, you know, in cities people are kind of on edge, and yeah, so it, like, you know, there is a traffic, there's like the whole energy of the city is just like everyone had enough, kind of, you know, everyone's kind of like semi-pissed, and they're like on the edge, especially on the roads. But here it's like, it's different, and people are kind of like, oh, let's go through there. People are kind of like, they don't really give a fuck. And they are kind of like, not like that they gave up on life. No, that's not the right expression. But they're like, I feel like they're so used to the roads, and they're, I guess, kind of used to driving alone on these like little empty paths and roads. And like, they know it so well, probably because some of them lived here for decades. And there are no police, there's no, like, you know, and there's no one to check up on you, really. There's no one to, like, wow. Ooh, wow, that is something beautiful. Yeah, there's like no one to like control you, really. I mean, there is a police that sometimes, like a police car that passes through sometimes, like twice in a year, you know, but not really, you know, you don't really have to worry about these things here, and that makes them incredibly reckless. Wow, look at that nice forest, apiary. Someone's having bees here. Cool. Well, let's go up there. I actually never went through here. Let's try it out. Let's make a little different path today. So they're driving extremely recklessly, and I've seen some, since I moved here. I used to live in the city. Since I moved here, though, I've seen some shit. No, seriously. I've seen some things that I was like, holy wow. I mean, that is just a different level of craziness on the road, you know? So I don't know, you know, I don't know if you got the same experience from like suburban areas and rural areas, but whenever I see, it's like, there's this also specific type of cars. They have this like old kind of like old I don't know, 400,000 kilometers on the track, you know, on that car. So it's like an old beaten up car, usually Skoda, and when it's like old Skoda Octavia, that's like one of the brands that those people drive the most. Whenever I see old school Octavia, I'm like, oh shoot. Because it's like, those people usually, they are crazy, you know, they're freaking crazy. And of course, not every driver who drives Octavia, but I mean, it's definitely a red flag when you're in a rural area and they see that car and you see it being far behind you, you know, like you're driving and you see far behind you, and it's then you look again into the mirror and it's weirdly much closer than you would expect. Then you know, oh shoot, we got a local mafioso driving to do I don't know what, you know. Like, I guess, yeah, this is I'm not sure what that is. I think it was a balloon, but yeah, I'm gonna take it. So yeah, people are driving pretty crazy here. So that was no quite as surprising, to be honest. Got some molted fur here. Drake is sniffing it out, and I think these usually smell really good, you know. Oh, it's a piece of skin. Oh shit, that's not gonna smell that good. Okay, I'm taking it back. Okay, that's not gonna smell good because it's probably from a carcass. I thought it was probably shed by a deer, and those shedded fur, if you smell it sometimes, it smells so lovely, you know. It's got this sweet clean smell that I just love. Yeah, I don't know if that's weird, but it's like, try it out, really. Be aware though, if it's not a carcass sort of skin, you know, then don't sniff it, you know. That's not gonna smell good, I think. But if you're gonna find there's more pieces of the balloon, and it's been chewed on, I think, you know. See that? It's like it's got this. I think it's been chewed on, unfortunately. That's not great. Yeah. Yeah, so let's take it with us, throw it out. So wow, look at this. Look at that, man. The lightning, not the lightning, the lighting. Fortunately, no lightning. So the lighting and the peacefulness, and wow, it's like no wind at all. We'll have to just, you know, stop by sometimes and take it all in. And by the way, I took my glasses today, you know. What a historic moment. I actually took my glasses. Yeah, so seeing pretty well today, sharply. Yeah, so anyways, that piece of fur, if you find it, it really smells amazing, you know. The deer fur, you know. But that's a carcass, so I mean, remnants of a carcass, so not gonna be that case. But yeah, I was talking about the people and driving in the rural areas, and yeah, sometimes it gets really crazy. And I think it's the one, absence of the law, you know, and two, people are being way too sure with themselves on the road, you know, like they know it by heart. They drove it like thousands of times probably, and it's like empty. So why wouldn't they drive like Mad Max, you know? Like, why wouldn't they, right? I'm not like that. I don't know, I just don't like reckless driving. I'm not saying I'm not driving. I'm not driving like 50 on where you should, when you can drive 90, definitely not. But I'm certainly not driving 80 in a village where you should be driving 50, you know. And that happened, by the way. That definitely happened at least once or twice. So yeah, that was a little bit of a unexpected sort of entry. I usually talk about nature and talk about history sometimes, rarely, but gotta to talk a bit about crazy driving too today. You got a lot of tits, gray tits, coming from over there. Some are over here. Some of them singing, some of them calling. Oh, and there's actually one tit on the branch there. I'm not sure if you can see it hopping on here on the second lower branch from the left. That's a blue tit. And there's another one. Oh, looks like a pair actually. Interesting. Maybe they have a nesting cavity here. Let's check. That was a pair, I would say, because they've interacted in a way that is not very like rival-like. So I think that might have been a pair, but I don't really see any cavity. So doesn't mean that it's not there. You know, it's a pretty old tree, so there could have been, there might be some cavity up higher up on that trunk, or anywhere else around here really. But that looked like a pair, and I suppose they're trying to look for, they're starting to look for a cavity to start a nest. And quite frankly, I'm not surprised, you know. Like you saw, like back there by the snowdrops, how I said like the first I see in spring. I'm confused too already. By the way, this here, no, that's not it. I thought it's the old chives. There's another plastic bag, but I'm not really. I already got quite a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say it's chives, but oh, this is chives. That over there was not, but this here, it's a wild. Hold on, let me taste it. Nope, that's the wild chives. I hope I'm saying it right. I think it's a species of like wild garlic, and it's got this, well, I suppose chives is like species of garlic too, right? But yeah, it's got this nice chives taste to it, you know, something you would put on your eggs. Very tasty. And it's coming up because how warm it is, you know. Usually it comes up a little later, but wow, there's a deer. Not sure if you've seen it. Guess it was hidden in there waiting for us to pass, and now it lost its nerves when I turned its direction. It lost its poker face and nerve and ran away. So we're following a deer path now, or like animal path, most probably traversed by deers. So you can see how it's cutting into the terrain. There's definitely no humans coming through here. I remember once we did go, wow, look at that. Look at that, it's beautiful. Ah, wow. Now you've heard a beautiful call of European green woodpecker, Picus viridis. Looking at this green, beautiful green moss. And yeah, hold on, getting through here. Oh, a little bit. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I actually was once on this path, a little unwillingly, in fact, because Drake sniffed out. Ooh, Oh shit, where's Drake? Gotta call him because there's a piece of leg here. Hold on, let me show you. I'm gonna position the camera so you can see it. See that? Damn, I don't know if there's no carcass around here that he would, you know, ravel himself in. So yeah, I think we have to go. I think he's lost in it. Oh damn, okay, well, check this leg here. Ooh, isn't that? Oh yeah, I think that's actually a boar's leg. Yeah, look at the hoof and the color of the fur. That's definitely a boar's leg. Okay, let me correct the angle here. Grab the plastic thing and find Drake because I'm worried that he might be onto something. This leg kind of raised my suspicion, and the reason why we were here last time was because Drake sniffed out a little boar. I mean, it wasn't little, but it was definitely not full-fledged adult. It was like larger, and yeah, he like it was running away. Drake chased after him. I chased after Drake, and that the boar actually got like all of a sudden a stroke of courage, and it turned back, and yeah, of course there's Drake something sniffing out and eating probably. I fucking knew it, because there's usually some shit here from the gamekeepers. This is actually one of the, oh, he's just sniffing. Hopefully he's not eating anything, but he was definitely too much into it to come back for the call. I was whistling. But yeah, this is one of the places that has the shittiest, and I'm sorry for the language, but one of the shittiest offerings in the entire area, because whatever they throw here is just freaking disgusting. You know, this is what I was talking about. Look at that. Let me position the camera so you can see it. So this is just fucking rotting bread, you know? It took me a little while to realize what it actually is, but it's rotting loaves of bread. See the mold over there? You know, see that? So that's what I'm talking about. There's more bread here. Brilliant. There's actually some like loop rings or something. I mean, what the actual, you know? And then more bread, rotting and mold and festering with mold. So, and it smells like alcohol, you know, because it's, of course, it's fermenting as well, right? I mean, obviously. So, yeah, but the good news is that Drake wouldn't eat that, so we didn't come too late. Yeah, if it would be a dead animal or something, like a carcass, he could, like, you know, bathe himself in it. He could eat some of it, then he would like vomit it, and ugh, you don't want to be you don't want to have that, really. So yeah, what I was talking about, the story while we were there, is that Drake spooked a boar from over there. You know, it was about, I don't know, this big. It was not an adult, but it was not a piglet either anymore. But it was like running away. Drake, like, you know, chased after him because he was like, he's usually scared of boars, but the fact that the boar was alone and it was running away and it was like kind of smaller got his, you know, courage up. And then at some point I chased after him. I was trying to stop him, obviously, and call him back and all that. And at some point that boar got a stroke of courage and it turned around and actually charged onto Drake, and that was the moment where he was like, "Oh fuck, I'm out," and he ran away. So that was a pretty cool experience and story. That's how we got there. There's a lot of commotion here, a lot of bird commotion. I was just gonna show you. There's this enclosure where the guy I told you about how his dog escaped multiple times and I returned it back, it was to this place. There's a house over there and he's got this enclosure. I was actually talking about it, right? The enclosure where he keeps the fallow deer. So I was just gonna show you the enclosure. It's wow, it's like huge. It's much larger than you would think. It's like it goes all the way that way and around and on that meadow over there, the pasture, and there's another enclosure here that is like connected, and it's really big. And sometimes you can see the fallow deer or hear them at least, but now they're just cooped up somewhere. And on this spot right here, this is like, it doesn't look like much, but this is one of the most rich and bountiful spots for sep mushrooms that I've ever came across. Seriously, I found like, I was here only a couple of times, you know, for them, but I found, man, like a whole bag, like a whole basket. I mean, I would say 5 kilos, let's say. Oh, and look at all the chives. Ooh, that is nice. That is nice. Okay. It's good too. Wow. So, sorry, I just recalled I can blow my nose. Thank God I remembered again. Thought I forgot my habit from last time. So let me blow my nose. And so, hold on. Got all the plastic. So, but regarding the wild chives, I just recalled, you gotta make sure when you're, well, first of all, taste a little small bit. If it tastes like chives, then you got chives, you know. But also look at the shape of the leaves. If, hold on, let me check up. Wondering what are you doing in there? Okay, because once, a couple times there was a dead deer, so I'm cautious. Excuse me. So, first of all, taste a small bit. If it tastes like chives, you got wild chives, you can, you know, harvest it. But also, like, take a look closely at the shape of the leaves. If those leaves are round, you know, on the intersection they're like round all around, then yeah, you definitely got chives, and you can, you know, munch on it and take some with you home and make some awesome scrambled eggs and whatnot, you know. So put it on a bread with a fresh freshly baked bread with fresh cheese and bit of wild chives, and you got a you got a feast to die for. So yeah, just make sure that it's chives always, you know, just taste a little bit. But you know, that's the thing. I was actually a little hesitant when I was tasting that one, because it wasn't as strong. I kind of felt the chives taste in it, but not as much. So, you know, there are multiple species actually, so one can be more pungent and sort of not pungent probably, but more like spicy, and it like hits your taste buds really, really hard, you know, which, you know, is a good thing. I like it, you know, it tastes very garlicky, but some species can be very mild, I assume, so it can taste just a little bit of like just slightly like chives. And but yeah, I was hesitant there for a moment and realized, yeah, this thing that you better first taste it first, and then just check if the leaves are like all rounded, you know, and then you know that's chives. And it's usually one of those first plants or first sort of plants that pop up from the ground when it's warm, and they grow in these like very often under bushes and under shrubs, and they grow in these like small sort of groups, and sort of like, it's like a little bundles, you know, that kind of come up from the ground. It's not usually like a whole sort of carpet of them, you know, like some plants just do grow that way, right? I mean, if you have a grass, then it just grows like a whole area of it is covered with it, and it's like grows like a sort of a carpet. But these, they usually grow in these like bundles, you know, and little islands of green, vibrant green chives, you know, and it's like poking out of the ground in a specific way. It's almost as if you would take a blades of grass and you would just artificially place it in the ground. That's kind of how it looks. And it grows in these little separate groups and islands and sort of tufts and bundles. So that's another way to kind of, you know, look for it and like kind of be aware. And that's how it's gonna catch. Sorry, that's how it's gonna catch your attention. You know, that its growing pattern and the way it grows is not like, how to put it? It's not like grass simply, you know. So you're not gonna walk by it and see like, oh yeah, that's grass, you know. It's just different. And also the reason that it grows from bulbs, you know. It grows from these little like oniony shaped, you know, bulbs. Yeah. So because of that, it sprouts out when it's like warm like this. It sprouts out, unlike grass, which you see if you look around. The grass is still, you know, old and tired, sort of, and worn out, and you know, dried out, and you know, well, it's just an old grass from last year, right? Whereas that is a freshly sprung up material, you know, right out of those bulbs, because those bulbs hold so much of their energy and of the nutritions, and it is teeming with life. And as soon as it gets a little warmer, it sprouts up. You know, tulips and other flowers that grow from bulbs, you know, and actually snowdrops are probably growing from bulbs as well. It's that kind of plant. So all of these kind of plants sprung up first, you know, they're the very first spring, or sometimes even in the winter, flowers that go and come up. And so that's how you're gonna know, you know. And you see when you're walking and everything's still kind of brown and faded and gray, and all of a sudden, in all of that grayness and wintry sort of tired terrain, all of a sudden you see, talk about the devil, you see something like this, you know. See that, how it grows in these like bundles? So you go closer, you know, you come in and you check, you take one and you check how it looks, you know. And I see that this one is perfectly rounded. If you break it down and look at the intersection, it's completely rounded. So this is undoubtedly beautiful wild chives. I could have eaten that. Hold on. I don't know why I put it on the ground. Yes. Oh wow. And this one is wow, this one is, holy moly, this one is kicking. Wow, that is a perfect spring snack. Oh wow, absolutely delicious, and very strong actually. Whew. Very, very strong, you know, surprisingly for such a small plant. So, you know, you can take those, and let me grab the plastic again. You can take those and, you know, chop them up and put them in a salad, put them in scrambled eggs. It's just, it's awesome. And if you have you know, home sort of quote unquote homemade eggs, you know, I do, I've got hens, so like, man, if you've got freshly laid eggs and you put some, you know, bacon and a little bit of chives, and whew, it's really to die for. It's absolutely delicious. And actually these early spring sprouters like chives, and we're definitely going to come across later on, you know, because I really do believe it's going to get colder soon, and we're going to get back to resume the winter journey, sort of, because this is really unusual. I mean, it's 18th of February, and it's like, if I would wake up from coma right now, I would be like, oh nice, we've got spring, you know. I would say it's like 20th of March at least. That would be my first guess. But no, it's 18th of February. But it's warm enough, and it's like, it really does feel like spring. So I was like confused by those snowdrops saying, oh yeah, that's first snowdrop this spring. And then I was like, wait, hold on a second, it's not spring. But anyway, those first sprouters of plants like chives, and yeah, I was going to tell you about the other plant that we're definitely going to come across later, I think somewhere in March, when it's going to pop out of the grounds. These are not growing from bulbs, so they're not sprouting up just yet. They need longer periods of warmth and more sunlight and so on and so forth, but those are going to be following chives for sure. And they're brilliant, they're tasty, and brilliant ingredients into a salad, you know, a wild spring salad. And it's one of those plants that I eat as soon as they come up. I eat them all the time whenever I come across them. I eat as much as I can, because these early sprouters, they contain so many nutrients and so many vitamins and so much goodness, because they're fresh out of the ground after winter, and they're packed with all the good stuff, you know. And they're tender, you know, they're easy to digest, and you know, there's hardly anything better than that, you know. And it's the same with nettles, you know. Nettles are known for their ability to sting you really, really well, and you know, I assume a lot of people don't really like nettles, but nettles are amazing, you know. I love their smell, by the way. They're just whenever I smell like nettles growing, and it's this specific nettle smell, I love it. It's so like nostalgic to me. But nettles are amazing as well. They hold so many nutrients, and when they're young and they're springing out of the ground in spring, that's when you want them, you know, because they contain so much goodness, and you can make a tea out of them. You can chop them up, put them in your salad, you know, and there's actually a way to prepare them so that they don't sting, you know. And you can bake them with some, you know, sort of like a spring bread, and all sorts of things you can do with nettles, young nettles. And as I was saying, those early sprouters, they are incredibly healthy for us, you know, and they have a lot of nutrients and vitamins. So it's really worth going out in the spring and get yourself some of that green gold, you know, let's call it, that is popping out of the ground. And there is so much of it, actually, you know. And once you learn to identify those plants and species, there's a whole smorgasbord of things, and a whole, you know, open table of things that you can forage, that you can eat on the spot, that you can take back with you home, you know, dry it, make tea out of it, you know, do whatever, you know. And it's something that we knew for such a long time as a you know, mankind as a whole. And then, you know, with things like Industrial Revolution and everything, and like the modern world, you know, coming to take the spotlight, like, we forgot so much, you know. And it's such a shame, because there is so much wisdom and so much you know, like, yeah, so much wisdom and so much like value in this knowledge and in nature and wild things, you know. So, and I'm quite fascinated by this, and I was trying to sort of rediscover these things and revive that knowledge a little bit for myself, because I was always fascinated by things like you just go somewhere and, you know, something grows from over there and you just go and taste it and it's amazing, you know, and you can just do a little walk, you know, and you come back with, oh, see those birds over there flying in the sunlight? Those are missel thrushes, and they were foraging on that meadow. That's a typical behavior for them. And you see it was a whole flock. So that's a typical behavior for missel thrushes, you know. Well, yeah, we've heard a blackbird over there alarm call as well. But yeah, missel thrushes love to forage on these meadows like that, you know, in a group. Sometimes starlings do that as well, but they're distinguishingly different. They're black, they're pitch black, they're smaller, and they make different calls when they take off, and they're different flight calls, and so they're easy to tell apart. But yeah, see? Now, not only they're making those rattling calls, but they're now flying away to different parts of the forest. And you hear them, and another one's flying, and another one's flying. Yeah. And that rattling call. Yeah. You know, there's this thing that is being used on Easter that makes this like sound. I'm not sure what's its name. I'm gonna, you know, put in the subtitles, but that's exactly that sound, you know, that they make. And once you hear it, you're not gonna forget it, you know. That's missel thrush, and you're like, oh yeah. It's really hard to forget. So yeah, I just love these things, you know. Kind of rediscovering what we knew, and you know, like not being like, just kind of enrich your life with all that, because like it's, of course, I mean, you got everything in the stores nowadays and you go and buy it, you know, and it's like easy and you don't have to think about it, and but it's just, there's a sort of poetic beauty in all that, you know, like going out with the seasons and kind of like be in line with them and kind of using and appreciating what nature has to offer throughout all these seasons. And there is always something, you know, in winter, in spring, in summer, in autumn, and it's just so beautiful to ride these waves, you know, because that's what we were doing for centuries, you know, for millennia. And now sometimes we're like so helpless because we're so used to all the technology and the convenience stores and you know, supermarkets and all that. But like, there's so much we can do on our own. Oh, that was brilliantly pronounced. There is so much we can do on our own, you know. So anyways, that was a little bit of you know, it was a little bit of what I always want to say some specific word to like describe. There was a little bit of and there's a brilliant Czech word for it actually, and I cannot remember it in English. I gotta find it out. Yeah. It's kind of similar to bookmark, but it's not the same thing. So let me put it in the subtitles. But yeah, this was a little bit of a different topic, you know, and very closely tied to spring, because spring is one of the most bountiful seasons and one of the most important seasons in this regard, because there's so much, you know, and people usually, after a long, dark, cold winter, I think they were extremely happy to you know, go out and forage all these things and use them, you know, for their health, for their various ailments, and just to enjoy it really, because it's tasty, you know, like chives and that plant that I will definitely talk about. I unfortunately don't know its English name, and I will learn it until then, but we're definitely going to come across it, and we're going to taste it, and we're going to talk about how to distinguish it so you can try it on your own as well. So yeah, that's for today, and I'm going to sign off.